And give it both these places, they wasn't paying nothing. You know what I mean? They weren't paying nothing. Matter of fact, like the water company, they had some type of funny ass pay scale. Man, I don't even know if that shit was like California legal. You know what I'm saying? It's like you had like a base pay. You know what I mean? And then they call it Chinese overtime, right? I ain't trying to offend nobody. I didn't make that up. They just call it Chinese overtime on how they calculate, you know, your overtime, because you had a base pay plus whatever you got off the truck. You know what I'm saying? And then if you end up working extra hours, it was some weird calculation that was going on there, man. That kind of, I never understood to begin with, right? But they wasn't paying much, right? Then I get over to the beverage company. I remember when I started there. I started there, and mind you, this was 2015. I started there at $19 and some change. You get what I'm saying? 19 and some change. And I know you're thinking like, man, what you had a class A? Be like, but yeah, I ain't had no experience though. You know what I'm saying? No experience, no money. Right? So I'm working for experience. I give it while I was there, right? I got my experience, but then, right? And I didn't mention this in all the other avenues that your class can get you. I moved into management, right? There's a lot of, I guess you could say office positions, you know what I mean? Desk positions that they still require you to have a CDL, right? So even when you get your CDL, you don't even necessarily got to go out there in the world like that, right? There's so many places that, you know, they just need somebody with a CDL on deck. You could be sitting at a desk answering phones, but you got to have a CDL for some reason, right? You know what I mean? For some reason, hey, you know, we require people in this position to have a CDL. Maybe because you're dealing with drivers, or you're dealing with things in a trucking industry on the logistical part, so it's required, right? But there's so many ways, right? So many avenues you can take once you get your CDL, right? But in the beginning, right, whatever avenue you take, it's all about gaining experience. Don't come in looking for the money. You know what I mean? But if you stick around, right, do the experience, you know what I mean? You're going to trip up on some dollars. You know what I mean? That's for sure. You're going to trip up on some dollars if you just stick around.